Fam, 2022 is hitting different, and to the dread of recruiters like myself and my fellow talent acquisition professionals, this is terrible for us. 2022 totally equals a candidate market. But if you're a candidate, and you probably are if you're watching this video, this is great news for you. I'm going to tell you exactly how you can take advantage of the candidate market, exactly what it is, and how you can land your dream job using all of these things to your advantage. Yes, this is all Job Search 2022. So let's get into it. Hi, I'm Mercedes. If you're new to my channel, I'm an executive recruiter and a career coach, and I use my knowledge to help Black professionals succeed in their careers. If you want to learn more, I would really love if you stick around and subscribe. But in this video, we are going to be talking again about 2022 and what job search tips you really need to be using, because yes, it is a candidate market, which means you can play the game correctly and land your dream job. And because it's a little bit different, all of these different unique things are going to play out to your advantage. So in this video, I'm actually going to tell you exactly what a candidate market is, what's going to be different about job seeking in 2022, and yes, how you can land your dream job. So stay until the end of this video, because in each of these things that I'm going to share with you, I'm going to tell you some actionable steps that you can really take to make sure that you land your dream job in 2022. So let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing is a candidate market. So what do I mean by that? What kind of recruiter language am I using with this? So generally, there are two types of markets that we can consider. I guess there's maybe some nuances to that. But mostly there's either a candidate market or an employer market. And what that means is that, right, it can either be in the favor of the candidate or their employer. When we're in a candidate market, which we are right now at the time of this recording and will likely be through all of 2022, a candidate market means that there are more jobs available than there are qualified talent actively applying to new positions. So example, prior to the pandemic, if I would have posted an administrative assistant type position, I might only have like 100 to 200 applications. But right now, for that same type of position, I'm guesstimating, I'm only receiving about 20 to 30 applications for every position. So from a recruiter standpoint, it's definitely struggling. We're definitely struggling out here, because if I take all of the applicants out of that pool who have zero transferable or relevant skills, that makes my candidate pool pretty small. And there's a reason for that. You've probably heard the word. It's called the Great Resignation. I'm going to talk about that a little bit more at the end of the video, so hang around for that. But basically, in the Great Resignation, right, it means that there are more opportunities for you to land your dream job, and your likelihoods, if you just use the numbers that I've, listed here, you're like double or triple more likely to land your dream job. And so what that means is for you, and the action item here is to just apply for any of your dream jobs, even if you feel like you don't meet most of the qualifications, because it's going to be easier for you to be hired because it's a less competitive candidate pool. Therefore, you can lean on those transferable skills or other relevant skills that you can really lean on to look like you're a great high potential candidate for that position, instead of just really needing all of these qualifications and skills and having the perfect resume. Okay, so this is your time. Take advantage of it, because we don't really know how long this is going to last, but I'm pretty sure us talent acquisition people are going to be struggling for a little bit. Okay, so I promise I'm getting right back to content, but if you're not subscribed to me, please subscribe. I'm trying to grow my YouTube account, and I want to help more Black professionals, and so you doing that helps me to continue to please the YouTube algorithm. So let's get into the next one. Okay, so have you all noticed that when you go to the grocery store, your groceries are like a lot more? My bank account was like, man, what are you doing? I was like, this is totally gross. But the fact of the matter is that cost of living has definitely gone up. So I think this is an advantage here, right? Because what we can do is use this time in this candidates market to increase our salaries, right? To be above our cost of living in the negotiation process, right? So because cost of living has gone up, rent has gone up, cost of materials have gone up, groceries and other things we just need to like live, that means when you go through your job search, employers are also aware of this as well. So when we're doing job search data, for your salary analysis and things like that, you really want to be mindful of this and make sure that when you're going through the process, you're using that to your benefit and asking for a higher salary. And you can use the fact that there's a higher cost of living right now, and that will be an impact on the salary that you're making, right? So we're always thinking about how we can play what's going on in this current market for our advantage. So the action item, the action item for you right now is to go through your recruitment process and make sure that when you get to the salary negotiation stage of that, you make sure that you consider what the market is. You do analysis for your salary. You can use payscale.com. That's a really great resource, and make sure that you negotiate for your dream job because you know your worth, and you also know that you can use the current climate and environment, being that candidates have the upper hand in this, as well as that salary adjustments are happening across the board. Okay? Get your dream job, get your raise, you got it. Okay, the next one is competency-based hiring. So because employers want to make good hires, they want to bring in the best talent in 2022, but they also don't have as many candidates to choose from, they're going to need to use competency-based hiring in order to evaluate candidates that don't have all the stacks of credentials and qualifications. And in order to do that, they're going to need to use competencies. So there are a lot of big employers out there that have already been doing competency-based hiring for a long time. But for those employers who really care about the recruitment process and who they hire, they're going to have to figure out a way to fill their positions while not just looking at the hard credentials. And so I do believe that in 2022, competency-based hiring is going to become the norm, right? In order to just make a hire in a small pool. So I know, what are you asking me? Like, what is competency-based hiring, Mercedes? Like, I have no idea. And so simply, competency-based hiring is assessing what are the persons, the individual, the applicant, whoever, what are their knowledge, abilities, characteristics, and behaviors that will allow them to be successful in a job, right? So we're not talking about your education, your hard skills, whether you can code, those hard skills that people are, or certifications, you know what I'm saying? Like those hard skills that people are generally looking through their resume for. So recently somebody said they were trying to move into data entry. I think it was on TikTok. And so they think they wanted to move from healthcare into another field. I can't remember what it is right now, but so basically let's use this as an example. So let's say you want to transition from healthcare to finance, right? And you want to do that, you want to be in data entry and finance, right? I'm just picking any career path, but this is relevant to all, okay? It can be applied to many different career paths, but basically, right, data entry is a skill, or utilizing data entry systems, like maybe it's a particular system that you're used to doing that in, or maybe you're competent with Excel. That is the skill. The competency actually behind that skill is attention to detail, it's organizational skills, and the ability to be a critical thinker. Okay, because yes, you're entering data, but like, let's hope it's corrected in the right way. Anyway, sorry, my HR was getting let out. But basically, right, you can have attention to detail in any position. And so then instead of asking questions to you about data entry, I'm going to start asking you questions about your ability to pay attention to small details, okay? And so that's how our interviews, I believe, are going to shift a little bit. And like I said, there are a lot of companies that are doing really great things in the hiring practices that are already doing these. So the action item here is just to prepare. I'm always going to recommend, I don't care who you are, where you are in your career, is that you always understand what competencies are needed for a position, what skills, what background is needed. But just take some time to really do some research. Like literally you can Google anything. Like right now, if I type in human resources competencies on Google, I'm going to get lists and lists and lists of what they're looking for. And so one of the things that you've probably seen lately, and I've definitely seen, is that a lot of people are transitioning into tech positions, right? Because tech in this weird COVID world is actually thriving because we need it to survive, right? Here we are in YouTube using technology, okay? And so they're transitioning based on competencies, not because they know how to code, not because they know all these different languages. It's because they have the competencies to be successful. So practice answering competency-based interview questions, and if you haven't already, practice answering behavioral-based interview questions. Those are the ones that are going to come up most for you in 2022. Okay, the next one is technology and hiring. I feel like I've laid this out a little too well because yes, like technology is part of everything. And just based on this new environment that we're in, right? More and more technology is going to be introduced into the way that we do things, but more companies, right, have been started and launched, and there's more startups for these different areas of tech. But also, you probably got to think, right, in this weird stage in life, other companies that are not thriving during COVID, right, has to be more effective and more efficient in the way that they do things. Maybe they can't actually hire people, but maybe they can use software or purchase software that's going to help them to be more effective. And that's what's definitely happening. So from my standpoint, and especially in my experience, right, HR and recruitment teams are implementing more and more technology to streamline their processes and better screen and evaluate candidates. So some of the trends that I'm seeing right now is the use of artificial intelligence in the recruitment process. So you're interacting with computers. Computers are matching people to jobs. Computers are screening and categorizing resumes, evaluating candidates, interacting and talking and chatting with candidates about their employer and what positions they should be applying for. There is actually bots out there that are doing this right now, okay? So just expect to see more of that as you're going through your process, especially at bigger companies, to be engaged more with artificial intelligence systems, softwares, or computers, whatever. The next one is video interviews, okay? So I know we're probably at this point really comfortable with Zoom, but there are going to be more softwares that are released, and I know there's quite a few of them out there right now where your interviews are being recorded and shared, and there's more virtual interviews than there are in-person interviews, just because of one of the things I'm going to talk about later, which is the national workforce. More individuals are going to be interacting virtually, or maybe even cutting out a lot of the human interaction in the interview process, where you're being evaluated without a person ever interviewing you, okay? So just think about those and really getting comfortable being in video interviews that may not have another person talking back to you. Okay, the next one is, of course, under the technology piece still, is that you'll probably see in that same vein more smart assessments and screening. So we talk about competency-based hiring, as we talk about personality and fit, there are going to be more assessments or quizzes or evaluations that you have in your job search that are going to be able to evaluate you for your potential for success, right? Because we don't have as many qualifications, right? We don't have that stack of really qualified people on our resume. So instead, what they're going to do is, like, how do we evaluate these soft skills? How do we evaluate the competencies, the critical thinking skills? Those are what's going to be used to screen candidates in the future. The last thing is online presence. So employers, because of the candidate market, have to better connect to sell themselves to candidate, right? And really build an interest. So what employers are going to start doing, and have already been doing, if you've probably seen this in, like, join our talent network and things like that. Employers are starting and will continue to build online platforms that allow them to build a community with qualified talent and other individuals. And they're going to be using social media platforms that allow them to do this. So I know you've seen some of those apps online that allow people to assess and evaluate. I know there's obviously Glassdoor, but really just in more of a higher touch interaction and more of a personality to their brand that really helps them want to attract talent. And so look out for those. Join those talent networks and things like that. It's a great way to start networking and learn about companies. So for all of this tech space, or these tech changes that are happening in recruitment and human resources, and as it relates to your job search, I want you to be, unfortunately, comfortable with being uncomfortable with a little while, right? All of these technologies and these resources and things that, and platforms, excuse me, that we're going to be expected to engage with during our job search now in 2022, is that it's going to feel so different, right? So we just have to familiarize ourselves with that, extend ourselves grace. But what I don't want you to do is don't, right? Just take the leap and do not shy away from the challenge of new technology or something new that's not familiar with you. Continue through the process because really you're just going to continue to improve, and there's probably going to be somebody out there that doesn't. And then maybe you'll get the job, right? So we're all there for the goal of getting your dream job. Okay, the next tip is around diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I know, let's take a breather. Let's take a moment to realize that this is the moment that all of us who have been doing DE&I work and have been warriors for that work have been waiting for. Larger companies all across the country have really realized that they have to focus on DE&I in order to thrive in a candidate market. And focus on being intentional in that space. So I know that probably speaking to you as another Black professional that you already know some of these reasons, but of course we know that so much of this was begun with the racial injustice that happened in 2022 with the murder of George Floyd, right? Employers, big public brands were required to make commitments in this space. And then after that, Black and other people of color were taking a stand and requiring that their employers be accountable to the commitments that they made in 2021. And of course, because of that, I personally have seen this big swing where people are very sensitive around this area, and especially in the hiring process, and are really taking actions to really address this and how this impacts job seekers, and definitely Black job seekers. So the interesting thing in here is if you're watching this and you are a Black professional, welcome. And if you're not a Black professional, welcome. But either way, job seekers are really now going to be expected, it doesn't matter what your role, to contribute to having a diverse, equitable, and inclusive workforce in their roles. And if you are in a leadership role, so you're a manager, a director, a C-suite person, you're going to be expected to be a champion of this for your area. There is so much change that has to happen. I'm not saying that, oh, suddenly we had all these commitments and things are changing. I don't believe that at all. But what I'm telling you is that this is now something that's going to be ingrained in the process, and we are going to see companies, and as you go through the application process, have a focus on this, and that is so great for us as Black professionals. So one of the things that I want you to do, and don't think just because you're Black that you automatically can meet these this requirement. Okay, you still need to be intentional about this. Even though you are likely the diverse talent that needs to be included, you still need to contribute in that space. So what I want you to do is really define what you will do or how you will contribute to having a diverse, equitable, inclusive workforce, right? Because that's not just for Black people, that's for other individuals as well, no matter what their background or experience is, okay? So I want you to look at the companies who are doing this, and I want you to really pursue those companies, because that's where you want to be, right? You want to be in a place that even if they don't always get it right, they're wanting to do the right thing. They're wanting to put backing behind their commitments. And so that means that we have more spaces as Black professionals to work and thrive and be happy, right? And we also get to play a part in ways that we can reduce racism and help support other Black professionals coming into our workplaces, okay? So action items galore in that, but this one makes me so excited. Okay, the next one is the national workforce. This one's a little bit short. I know, I'm looking at the clock. I know I've been talking for a little bit, but this one's pretty simple, right? Because of COVID, because of everything that happened, right, for a large period of time, well, I shouldn't say a large period of time, for a significant life shift for us, right? So much of us went to remote work, and companies ended up thriving and sticking with remote work or allowing for flexibility. And so what that means for us is that we are now part of a national workforce, right? We're not considered a local workforce, right? We don't have to be in commutable distance of our employer, okay? So what that means is as you're conducting your job search, do not just look in your local area if you're open to remote work. Look nationally. Search for remote jobs. Just please use this amazing, exciting time to pursue that type of opportunity and consider what it would look like and how you could thrive in a company that may not be in a commutable distance from you. Please do. So the last one I mentioned at the beginning is the Great Resignation. It is still happening. I think they're calling it other names now, but I'm just calling it the Great Resignation because that's the one that I like and we're sticking to it. But right when the pandemic started, right? People were laid off, people were out of work, or people were just done with the stupid corporate BS. And some people were just done with the politics, or they had to take care of family. They became self-employed. They started to join the gig economy, and that just flowed over into 2021 and will continue into 2022. It will probably become worse, right? Um, but what that means for you, if you are still in the workforce or you are re-entering or you are job searching or however that looks for you, getting a promotion, I don't care. This is an amazing thing for you because employers are going to shift in some significant ways, right? Their priority is no longer going to be to just refill roles and hire. Their priority is going to be to retain talent as much as they can because they know it's going to be much more expensive to refill that role because of that higher cost of living, salary negotiations. It's hard to find talent. So these are the things that are going to switch, which means that if you're going to a new opportunity, they're probably going to do a lot to retain you, or maybe even get a retention offer. I don't know. Another one is that employers are going to start thinking more outside of the box of how to attract qualified talent, right? I talked to you about how it's a candidate market, and that means there's kind of a war for talent right now. So they're going to start offering higher salaries, greater benefits, more flexibility, more time off, all of these things in order to continue to retain and attract as much of their workforce as they can. And as I mentioned with competency-based hiring, employers are going to start hiring for potential. Less talent means more options for you to transition into a new career path, something that you have no experience in, all of that. So what I want you to do is to capitalize on this. Apply for that position that you were scared of. Interview, get the job. Ask for the salary that you want, even though it sounds a little insane, okay? Just lean into your strengths, create that brand, and go into your next interview process, your next offer negotiation, shoot, just your resume, whatever. Go into it with confidence because you totally got this, okay? It's your market, boo. Okay, so I really threw a lot at you. So, kind of based on what I've shown or shared with you today, can you let me know in the comments how are you feeling about 2022 based on this information? Are you happy or excited, worried? How does this video make you feel about the future? I really hope that it's good. But if not, I just want to hear your unfiltered, honest thoughts because I really want to know if as a recruiter and as a career coach. So today I obviously shared, like I said, so many things that you can do in 2022 to really help you in your job search, right? 2022 is definitely going to be different and you'll have to adjust. But with all things job seeking, you still need the basics in your job search. You really need to know what it means to conduct an effective job search and understanding what the job search cycle is. You also need to know how to create that professional brand. So you need to know how to write your resume, you know how to interview, you need to know how to negotiate, okay? We talked about that today. And so my goal for you is to use the information in this video, all the cool things that you now know or have learned about 2022. And I want you to combine that with the basics in the Black Professionals Academy so that you can ensure that you land your dream job in 2022. And yes, Black professionals who have been in the academy have used this information to land their dream job in less than 60 days. So if you want to do this for you, combine the best of everything, land your dream job, the dream that you never thought you could have, I want you to check out the comments or the description and try out the academy. It is actually available to you to try out for 7 days before you make a commitment. So I will see you in the academy. Sorry. If I don't see you in the academy, or I guess either way, my hope for you is that in 2022, you land the job of your dreams. I want you to find success. I want you to be fulfilled. I want you to pursue your purpose. And so I hope that in 2022, you use your career to do that and to live the life that you were meant to live all along. You totally got this, fam. All right, if you like this video, like I said, I'm trying to grow my YouTube video, my YouTube account. So just make sure that you subscribe, tap the bell so that you can get notified of new videos. Also, if you found this video helpful or you have friends or family that are job seeking right now, don't be selfish. Share this video with them because I want this information to be as accessible as it can to other Black professionals so that they don't have to make the mistake that I and others have made in their job search and so that they can land their dream job and live happily ever after. No, I know that doesn't happen, but your dream job definitely helps. So I'll see you in the next video. I'm sure there's a video that you should watch showing up on the screen anytime now, but you can watch any of the playlists that are listed below. And I'm really excited to see you all in the next video. Bye.